Very, very cool to be with you all. I see we have Adam, Chris, Lanita, Martin. We have Otter. Welcome, Otter. How are you today? So good. Stacey Akers. Amazing. More people just jumping into the waiting room. Stacey D. So good to be with you guys. Martin, you're looking just dashing as usual. Amazing to have you here. Woody, great to have you here. I'm feeling great today. I must have had too many Red Bulls. Oh, well. Hey Adam, great to see you. Amazing. I just dropped the worksheet here. Yes, it is dark outside here. I've been up since 4. I've been getting up at 4 a.m. for about 4 weeks now. I just have to go to bed like a little baby early on in the day. Hey, very, very cool. So excited to be with you guys. I reckon we're at a very exciting time for all of us. It's a weird time, but it's an exciting time. So let's jump in here. I'm going to share my worksheet with you here. You should see something slightly different in a second. I'm going to keep an eye on the waiting room. There's a few more people jumping in. Can you see my worksheet here? You should see my worksheet in a different version of me. Great. This is what I believe. When we transform how we interact with the world, we fundamentally change our future. And often we want to change our future without changing how we interact with the world. And it doesn't really work that way. We keep hitting the same obstacles, right? It's like someone who has bad people skills, perhaps, no one on this call, and you have bad people skills, but you buy a bunch of leads and you expect things to change for you. Well, it might change for a certain amount of time, but your ability to dramatically alter the course of your life doesn't really change because you're still fundamentally having the same problem, which is how can I connect more efficiently or more deeply with people? And so we're going to look very much today at transforming how you interact with the world. And I think some people have said to me, what's this archangel model? Is it a religious thing? And no, it's not. It's called the archangel intervention because my son, his name is Gabriel. And it's called the archangel intervention because the model itself can dramatically and powerfully intersect and change our lives. And so really cool. Just going to do a little bit of a brainstorm with you guys. I want you to work really hard today. Hey Ariel, great to have you on here. More and more people jumping on. If you want to stay in the background, that's fine. If I can see you, Nizami, great to have you on here. What we want to think about is we're at this sort of transition point here of 2024 to 2025 coming up, and there's some things we want to leave behind, and there's some things that we want to have that are going to be dramatically different. And so if you could just spend a minute writing down on the side here the things you really want to leave behind from this year, the things you really want to leave behind. And so you might put roller coaster, if it's been a bit of a roller coaster. You might put, I can't spell, my goodness. It's a bit bad, isn't it? Roller coaster. You might put down a relationship of some kind. So just spend a minute just jotting down all the things that you'd like to leave behind from this year. Might be personal things like injuries. I'll just start writing down my things that might give you an idea. Things you'd like to leave behind. Pop them down. It might be a behavior. Just words, things you'd like to leave behind. It might be a place. It might be a pattern. Pop them down. Things you'd like to leave behind. And if you want to, share one into the chat. Someone's drawing on my screen. That's amazing. Who's managing to do that? I need to change that. There's a screen sharing thing here. Wow. Very cool. So if you're drawing on the Zoom with an orange pen, I don't know how you're managing to do that. Wow, you're drawing on the shared screen. Does anyone know how to turn that off? I can stop sharing. One person. I'm going to stop share and then I'm going to share again. And that should clear it up. There we go. I've never had that before, not for a long time. All right. Yeah. Do you know how to turn it off?
It's okay. So there's a toolbar on the left. No, that doesn't have any options in it. I mean, you'll probably have different controls from me because you're the host.
Yeah. I'm looking at only one participant. Okay. Host only. Okay, there we go. Maybe that will stop it. I just changed it so only I can share my screen. Funny. I just don't want your private information going out there, like you might not want to share these things in public. You can if you want to, but let's try that now and see how that goes. Thank you. That's very kind. For
Still have the annotate button, Jeff.
Oh,
So that means I could probably still do that.
very weird.
Yeah, it's going to be in your settings somewhere.
All right. Let's just see how we go. I can get rid of it if I need to, but let's not stall. So these are things we want to leave behind. But we also want 2025 to be different. And if 2025, if we flash forward, Stacey, Woody, Martin, to this time next year, and it's been exactly the same, how disappointed would you be? If 0 is not disappointed at all, it would be a great year, right here. And 10 is, I would be extremely disappointed if it was exactly the same, if nothing changed. Where would you be? Where would you be on the disappointment scale? 10, yeah. Most people are very motivated to change. So let's spend about a minute. What do you want to be different? What do you want to be different about 2025? So just spend a minute just getting focused. What do you want to be different? I literally want to be more focused. I want to be more surrounded by people who love me. What do you want to be different? What problems do you want to solve? Hey, Stacey. Stacey number 2. And both Stacey's looked at me and waved. That's amazing. Everybody's called Stacey today. It's a good name. More consistent in all things that are a high priority. You want to prioritize more. Right. Anybody else? Pop some things down. What do you want to be different? What do you want to be different? I want to have a schedule and a routine. Cool. I think focus is big for me. Okay, Michelle's here. I want to be debt free. Love that. Great. Amazing. Very cool. Anybody else want to share? What do you want to have different? I want to be fearless in the pursuit of relationships and goals. I love that, Chris. Consistent. Right. And so the model that we've developed is designed to help us leave these things behind and embrace these things. That's what we want to do. And I have to tell you, some of you know this, but I've been using the model I'm teaching for about a month. And it's literally changed my life. I'm way more energy. I feel way more connected to my goals. I used to set goals, and then if Adam asked me what my goals were a week later, I would stutter and probably not be able to tell him. Even though I'd written them down and I felt really connected to them, they were leaking. They were falling away from me, and it wasn't simple enough for it to stick. And so today, what we're going to learn, or one of the things we're going to look at is, what is this model and how can it help us? Very quickly, as we come in here, I want you to just write down some of the things you mentioned, but like a physical goal, a financial goal, a romantic or family goal, a business goal, a reputational goal, a fun goal. Just write them down. Some of you have done this before, but guess what? One of the reasons our goals don't stick is we stop writing them down once we've set them, and we stop talking about them, and we stop exploring them, and we stop wondering about them. And so it's just put down some goals here, right here. Like I'm going to do, I'll change it today. I'm going to do 85 kilos. Americans won't know what that is. 85 kilos is approximately 180 pounds. Is that fun under your head? Fun, yes. Oh, sorry, I saw what you're saying, Shari. Let me move that around. There we go. I'll see if I can move this too. I can. There we go. So start putting your goals down here. 100k months. Whatever your goals are, put them down. They don't have to be perfect. But I'm telling you, every time you write your goals down, they become more real. Drop a couple of your goals into the chat. Practice sharing them. Drop a couple in, right? Drop a couple in and practice sharing them. Drop a couple in. Would love to see what they are. Be bold. Pain-free. Amazing. Yes, pain-free. Amazing. What's another goal? Travel more. Where? Lose 10 pounds and build muscle. See, lose 10 pounds and build muscle is a great goal because you know exactly when you've lost 10 pounds, right? Like you know how to reach your goal. Travel more. Travel where? How often? How much, right? Get really specific with your goals. There's so much more to explore. We write down a goal. I want to travel more in 2025, but it's not going to stick. It's just it's a whim. It's a wish, right? And there's no pathway for it. So what is reputational? I want my work to be world known. I want to be perceived by more. I want to be known by more people as a great realtor in my community. In your case, I want to be the most popular realtor in a certain Facebook group. Like I want to speak with more authority. I want to be more trusted. Things like that. Great. Someone lose 35 pounds by June 1st, 2025. That seems like a reasonable, like a nice length of time and not unachievable. It's not like by next week. Great. Novel out there. Amazing. Music out there. So what's the finish date on the novel, right? What's the music out there? And I'm not asking you to complete it today. I'm asking you to think more about it and to have fun investigating it. Spiritual body holistic coaching out there. What does that mean? What's the deadline? What does it look like? Sometimes we put a goal, but it's not really the goal, right? Just to use Nizami, you as an example, you probably don't just want a novel out there. You probably want a great novel out there, or a novel read by like 300 people or 3,000 people or 300,000 people, right? See, Adam says fun. Read a minimum of 30 books next year. Doable. He can put that up on the wall, and he could even create his book chart of all the books he's going to read, or he could ask people on social media, which books should I read? This is my goal. Create a database of books and tick it off, right? Fun. Start a book club, right? Where's that book club going to be? So we want to, Adam says, read Nizami's book. That's amazing. I love it. Awesome. Okay. How confident are you that you are going to reach your goals? Now, be really honest with me. We're going to start traffic lighting this stuff. So are you not confident at all? Red. Are you maybe it will happen, maybe it won't? Amber. Or are you extremely confident your goals are going to happen? Are you red, amber, or green? Pop it in the Zoom chat. Red, amber, or green. I'm just going to pinch this in a bit so you can see a bit more. Red, amber, or green? Amber, green, 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 green. Those of you who have put green, why are you so confident? Why? Where does your confidence come from? What makes you so sure? Mindset. Huh. Red today, but other days amber. I understand, Chris. Commitment. You're feeling committed. Yeah, cool. He's committed to them. Great. Let me ask you this. How many of you can reach your goals just by yourself without the help or support or love of other people? Can you do it without yourself, but just by yourself? Yes or no? No, 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 no. Let me ask you another question. Would it be possible for some people to dramatically affect your ability to achieve your goals? Like, could they sabotage your goals? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Yeah, right? So the model is designed to make it as certain as possible for you to achieve your goals. Let's look at the different rings and what they represent. The first ring here represents self. So if we think about all the relationships that you need to have to things and to other people, the first and most important relationship is the relationship you have with yourself. And some things are going to have to change or transform or grow in regards to yourself when it comes to achieving all your goals. In this box here, I would love to know what needs to change for you to reach all your goal. What goals? What needs to change? For me, just try and put down one thing, by the way. There's a lot probably, but one thing. For me, I'm going to need more focus. That's the one thing I need to work on is focus. What's one thing that needs to change? All right, let me stop share again here, Chris. That's fine. Add some more beautiful drawing. Here we go. What's one thing that needs to change? Pop that in the chat with yourself. Consistency or focus, kind of tied. More focus, less negativity. Yep. Hard. It's really difficult. Needs to change. Okay. Because if you stay the same, you probably won't achieve a lot more. So we want to make sure that you here are in the green, right? And part of staying in the green to achieve your goals is having a process which keeps you connected to them. One of the big things that's made a huge difference for me in the past month is, and some of you will be aware of this, but we've worked on principles and processes that are part of the book we're writing too, which are based on keeping you connected to your goals. And there are so many different ways of doing this that are very powerful. So, for example, on my phone, you might not be able to see it, but I have a picture of an American eagle on my desktop. That American eagle reminds me that I am soaring. And when I reach my goals, I'm soaring. So every time I look at my phone, which I look at it regularly, maybe too much, I say to myself, I'm soaring. I'm soaring. I have my goals behind me up on the wall in front of the mirror, and they're on a sticky note. So every day I take a sticky note and I put it on my phone or my wallet, and that goal goes with me throughout the day. Because my primary goal, or one of my primary and most important things for me to do, it's important for you to do, Martin, you, Shari, you, Michelle, is our main responsibility is to stay connected to our goals and who we are. It's far less likely to get thrown off track if we are reminding ourselves constantly. So when I feel myself getting unfamiliar with my goals, I must recreate them. I must see them again. I must explore them again. Because that's central to achieving anything, is this level of commitment, which Martin talked about. If we're not committed to our goals and commitment leaks, then it won't happen. And them not happening is not acceptable. And so the first and most important sphere here is self. The next circle that really needs to change if you're to finish your book and do all those things, Nazim, is what we call the sanctum. And the sanctum is a small group of people who truly understand you and support you. And these are the people that you talk to every single day. And these people here, not only do they understand your goals, they understand your goals. You communicate your goals to them pretty regularly. Like Martin and I have been working a bit together. And most days, or not most days, but at least twice a week, we'll talk about our goals, right? Because I need to be known in my goals. They can't be something I keep hidden away and don't tell anybody about. I need support in those goals. Martin also knows some of my challenges with reaching my goals, right? These people here, you need people who are totally on your side, and maybe about 5 to 8 people. Here's the thing. If we're honest, sometimes in our sanctum, in our family structures, in our relationships, in our work structures, we have people that we have to talk to every single day who don't really inspire us to be our best, right? It's a toxic person, a negative person, an average person or an average fit person for us. And so what ends up happening is we end up with this kind of red around here, which means we're kind of blocked, right? If every day, Michelle, you talk to someone who said, you're never going to lose 35 pounds by the 1st of June. That's just a ridiculous goal. You're trying to be a teenager. Whatever. Like, that's just really nasty, Michelle, and I apologize. You know, I don't really think that. But if every day you talk to somebody who said that to you, I guarantee your chances of reaching your goals would be almost zero. Like, you would have to be an extremely strong person. And you are, but most of us can't handle that level of negativity. And sometimes, that's an exaggeration, sometimes you can't get rid of that person. Nizami says, what if that person is your mum? Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, right? And so what we do with this model is we say the answer to pollution or toxicity is dilution, because you can't always remove that toxic person from your life. One thing that I've said before that is quite rude, but I'll say it again because I think it's amusing, is that right now there are a large number of people taking a shit in the ocean. And most of us will still swim in the ocean. Sorry, Shari, I think you might have company. I apologize. Most of us will still swim in the ocean because there's so much water. Yet if one person in a public swimming pool does that same act, we're all jumping out, right? And so when we think about our sanctum here, and you think about the people you need to be surrounded by, what we need to do is we need to make sure that in our sanctum, we are fully supported by people who understand our goals. Now, Nizami, funny example, maybe true, maybe some elements of truth. Mum, not the most positive person in the world, right? When we have some toxicity that in our sanctum, what we need to do is we need to pull more people in who are positive, and we need to increase the frequency that we talk to the positive people. And we need to increase the depth of which we talk to the positive people. Does that make sense? So there's just more powerful messages coming in that are positive. Let me ask you guys this question. When it comes to your sanctum and your goals, do you feel fully supported by 5 to 8 incredible people who you talk to every day, who understand your goals, understand your vulnerabilities, and are cheering you on? Are you no, not at all, red? Are you maybe like a little bit, amber? Or are you green? Absolutely. I've got people here. No, amber, red, amber. Yeah, where are you? Pop that in the chat. Amber, amber, green. Stacey, amazing. That's because you're quite a positive person too. Green, yellow, and you've been lucky. Green, good. Green, amber, awesome. If you're building a team around your goal, like a work team, you want to make sure that as many of those people as possible are that way. And you want to foster vulnerability and positivity in those environments. When it comes to your sanctum, what's one thing that needs to change here? What's one thing that needs to change in regards to who you surround yourself with in 2025? I think for me, I need to be more intentional more often. I need to be more vulnerable. That's great. That's hard, eh? It's hard shit. Pardon me. It's hard stuff to be vulnerable, but it's also very life-giving. Very, very life-giving. And it's hard. Here's the thing with vulnerability is that you will make some mistakes. And when you make a mistake, often that's a person showing you they can't handle your vulnerability. And that's a good reason to move them out of your sanctum if you can, and move somebody else in who can handle it. All right. So I've done that this year. Shared a problem with somebody. They immediately tried to become my coach. They immediately tried to make my problem my entire life. And I was like, no, like I'm fine in these other areas. Stop checking in on me like I'm a baby. I'm just saying this area is hard. And so it showed me they couldn't handle the vulnerability. That's fine. You learn about yourself. Shari says she needs to be more selective. What about everyone else? What do you need to change about the people or how you interact? Transform how you interact with the people closest to you. Pop it in the chat. I want to see. When we write things down, when we type, when we interact, when we engage, that's when change happens. It doesn't happen just by listening. I've said this before. It's a very good accent that I have, but it doesn't change anything. I need more daily contact, too isolated. Yeah, it's hard as a writer, super important to get connected and interact and to engage with people. More intentional, love it. Amazing. Actively engage, love that, Ariel. Yeah, cool. All right. How are you finding this so far? Is it making sense? Is it logical? Can you see that this needs to be green? Or otherwise you're going to struggle? 100%. I need to see people for who they are, Chris says. I'm too trusting. Yeah, so far so good. Awesome. Great. Okay, this next circle here is called supporters. So while we have people who are very close to us in our sanctum, who we talk to more intimately most days, we also need a group of people who are just cheering us on a bunch more. You could think of this, Nizami, as early book readers or people who love the fact that you're going after your goals. These people, and this is important, Adam, when we talk about vulnerability, the supporters don't need to know the challenges and the problems. That's fine, Stacey. I know you only had 30 minutes. Thanks for showing, Stacey D. The supporters don't need to know the sordid details of your life and the challenges that you have, but they do need to know your goals. Can I support you in your goals if I don't know what they are? Can I support you? Not really. I can't really support you in the way that I would like. I can't be happy or excited that you're trying to publish a novel, Nizami, until you tell me I want to publish a novel. And then I go, that's amazing. What's it about? How can I encourage you? How can I help you? What can I share with other people, right? And so supporters, they need to hear your goals pretty regularly, actually. Because in our process of setting goals normally, we don't involve others. We set our goals, we put them on the wall somewhere, or we do a nice little vision board. The brave ones share it on social media and hope people see or understand it. They don't. They don't have a clue what it means. It's just like pretty pictures on your vision board from a magazine, right? But when we meet with people who are supporters, and our frequency of meeting with these people is less than in our sanctum, we want to share our goals with them. Oh, Stacey, what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on building a Facebook community for X. Oh, how's it going? How can I help you? What are you working on? So with supporters, there's this mutuality of sharing of goals. Does that make sense? And anyone who wants to achieve something big, I reckon you need like 20 people here. 20 energetic supporters. Let's test it. If you had 20 people who think your goals are incredible, who believe Michelle the opposite, right? You wanted to lose pardon me, just getting over a cold. You wanted to lose 35 pounds by the 1st of June. If you have 20 people who are maybe some have expertise, maybe one's a trainer, one's a dietitian, but maybe there's just other people in your life too, who just every time they see you, they go, Michelle, you're looking great. I can see you're doing it. Like, would that help you if you had more people encouraging you, or would it affect you? Yes, 20 additional people, Stacey, 20 additional people. It would help, right? It would help. Let me ask you guys this. When it comes to supporters, do you have 20 people right now who know your goals for your life and who are absolutely cheering you on? They don't have to know the little details or struggle. Do you have 20 people who know those? Red, no. Amber, I got a few. Green, yes, I've got 20. Amber. So reaching the goals becomes less possible if we don't have as much green here. And I think a lot of people, Stacey says, great, I love this, have the people, haven't asked the question. In other words, the thing she needs to change here is she needs to be more intentional in sharing goals. Pardon me. Waiting for this to come back in. Cool. More intentional in sharing goals. Right? So what do you need to change? Do you need to gather supporters? Do you not have those people? Do you need to find supporters? What do you need? Do you need to find them? Do you need to gather them? What needs to change? What needs to change?
I have a question.
Yeah, go.
So, like the different categories of goals, I see different people being supporters
Of different ones?
of different goals.
Yeah. Give me an example.
Well, for example, like my physical goal,
Yeah.
there are like the instructors at my gym.
Yes.
Obviously, would be supporters for that, but I'm not gonna like talk to them about cutting my credit card debt in half.
Why not? I told my gym trainer I wanted to have 100K months for my business, and he's like, that's awesome. And you know what he told me? He started telling me what his goals are for his business. Stop segmenting people based on their job. That's amazing. They'll tell you about their credit card debt, and then you'll say, well, how can I help you? And you'll be like, well, you could do this and that because I got these financial people I can connect you with. Like, you're shutting down relationships. Sorry, I'm just like, it's a great question because we tend to do that, to think about people just according to function rather than relational help. And we never know how a supporter can help us because we don't know who they know.
So can you reiterate for me the difference between the people in your sanctum and
Yeah.
the people who are your supporters?
Yeah. Now, in deeper trainings, we get into a few things which we're not talking about today, which I would call them like dream foes, which are enemies, or the enemy to your dreams, like vulnerability. So it might be a toxic person, it might be a bad habit, it might be an addiction, it might be an old pattern, It might be a particular life challenge that you've found yourself in. And for a Sanctum member, they will know those particular vulnerabilities that you have, and they won't hold them against you, and they won't see that thing as being an obstacle to your dream. Now, for a supporter, they don't need to know all that stuff. They just need to know the more positive stuff. So that's the main one difference. The other difference is frequency. So you're going to talk to these people, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, maybe every day. But supporters, you might talk to them once a week or once a month or once every 2 weeks. So there's a less of a frequency because you can't handle so many relationships. We get into this in deeper trainings, but you also want to do what we use, it's called the swap code, which is interesting if you think about this. Just because you're supporting me, just because you're a member of my Sanctum this week, Stacey, and I've shared some problems with you, doesn't mean that you'll be available for me the next week or the next month. And so we can swap people in and out. So you might have a bunch of people that move. It's quite dynamic because the most important thing is that you are known close to home, right? That people know what your challenges are, not who the people are. And so we get very addicted to loyalty and less addicted to what we would normally consider a selfish frame, which isn't. It's a self-caring frame, which is it's most important that Martin has people that know him and love him and care about him in his particular challenges. The same for Woody, right? And so honestly, if you're not available for me this week, that's life, right? Stacey, you have stuff going on. I know, right? It's kind of selfish in reverse for me to say, Stacey's in my Sanctum. She must hear my problems this week when you've got all your problems going on. And so that means I maybe push you back into the supporter crew for a little bit. And I say, let me talk to Nizami because I think he will understand this better and he has a bit more space right now. And so not to get into it too much, but the swap code allows you to fill these circles up with people who give you what you want today and right now, rather than saying these are hard circles, hard relationship circles, bounded relationship circles, where, look, Michelle, you promised you'd support me in 2025. I'm sorry, I'm not letting you go. Even though you want to run away and you don't want to support me, I'm keeping you here, right? We can't control people in that way, but we can say, I must be supported in every single way. Totally understand, Shari. The next circle here is your sphere of influence here. And this is just a wider group of people who kind of buy what you have. So, excuse my writing, I'm writing kind of an... If you're a realtor, which many of you are, this means, Martin, you need a circle of people to sell houses to, right? You need a circle of people in your area who will tell other people about you. Because if you don't have this, if you had supporters all around the world and you had a Sanctum of people who think you're great and want to help you with your challenges, but you don't have a circle of people who buy what you want, we can support you and encourage you as much as we like, but you're going to fail, right? And for you, Nizami, this is readers. For a coach, it's students. You need groups of people who actually can practically and tangibly be the fruit of your work. And so the thing is, though, people often exaggerate the number of people they need here. You probably only need like 100. Well, actually, we put here, because these people here often are as well, 75 to 100 of these people. But they need to know you very well. And it's not just paying customers. These are people who will tell others about you also. So do you feel like you have a deep circle of people who need what you have to offer, who want to buy your book, Nizami, who want to use your real estate services, Michelle? Do you feel like you have that group of people? If you do, put green. If you have maybe some, put amber. If you have none, if you don't have very many, put red. So Stacey is green. I would agree with that. Adam is amber. Red, amber. Right. Red. Nizami, one way of thinking about this, I met Nizami on Substack, and one way to think about what I'm doing, because you're doing something somewhat similar, different but similar, is I'm running the book club to get my first readers, right? Or to get clients. So you want to be building a sphere of people around your book who can be your very first readers, and thinking about that, asking your supporters, and there's ways of engaging people in that way, but it's imperative that you have a little bit of an audience to start with, because we can get really blocked if we have too much red here. We can't reach our goals. And this is where the goals will interact. Like Stacey, fitness goal, personal trainer, right? If you're blocked here, people don't buy the thing you sell. This is going to sound funny, because it is funny. You're going to get very, very fat, because you're going to get anxious and you're going to eat. And so your physical goal won't get reached, right? But if you're empowered and you've got people buying what you want and you're in control of your life, then you're more likely to keep to that physical goal. So it works in that way too. So what's one change with your sphere of influence? One transformation. I'm going to put, for me, I know a lot of people, but I'm going to put deeper and more specific sphere. What's your change here? What's your change here? Put yours down. Do you need to build it? Do you need to start? Now, understand too, this will be very imperfect. In fact, the whole model is designed to be imperfect, because it should transform over time. So I will just choose the first 20 people who I think are my supporters, and I'll start sharing goals. And some of them won't be very supportive, and I'll move them out, but 10 of them will be, and I'll move 10 more in, and I'll get a richer and richer form of supporter. Same with your sphere of influence. Just choose 50 people, 75 people, they're your sphere of influence. Hey, I'm writing a book, and I'm really excited about it. Could I share it with you from time to time? And 20 of them will say yes, and 50 of them will say no. Now you only need 55. Let me just start creating and working from a place that's imperfect. Increase the numbers, offer more consistent communication and value. That suits a reputational goal. I love it. Very cool. All right, so that's your sphere. And then the next goal here, this is where it gets a little tricky with people of different careers, but not really. So we call it the suburb, but you can also think about it in terms of social as well. Every human being, to succeed, needs to feel like they have a place in the world where they are connected. And normally that's around the physical place where you live. So if you had a great self, a great sanctum, a lot of supporters, and you had people who would buy what you had to sell, but every time you walked out onto the street, you felt lonely. Every time you walked into a cafe, you felt like people hated you, or you felt judged. And you couldn't relax in your environment in which you live. It would be very hard to thrive. Will you agree? Yes or no? Hard to thrive if you don't feel a sense of home. And so what we want to do here, and this is where realtors, which I know there are some of you on here, who make a big mistake, is to try and be known everywhere in your community. And so one thing you want to think about is, do I have places where I live where I am known? And if you go everywhere, you end up going nowhere. So someone who goes to eat lunch at a different place every single day will never be known anywhere. But if you go to the same cafe 2 or 3 times a week, week after week, people start to know you, you start to relax, it becomes your spot, right? It becomes your corner. And so The same thing happens on social. If you hang out in a bunch of different channels and different groups and follow everybody, you end up being and getting to know no one. And so you want to be known in the physical world or in the world in which you inhabit. And I'm curious, how well known do you think you are in your suburb and in your community? How free do you feel to be yourself? How much does it feel like home? And there should be various places, coffee shops, libraries, wherever you hang out, gyms. Are you red? I feel a bit of a stranger, or I'm a hermit. I stay inside. Amber, a little bit here and there, but could be better. Or green, yeah, I have my spots. Amber, 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 amber. A lot of amber here. So that can really affect your goals because it takes a lot of energy to feel not completely welcome, not completely at home, right? Who has children here? Anyone have children? I know Stacey does. Children, Woody does, right? Imagine your children answering this question, Amber. Maybe they do, right? How do you feel when you feel when you come into my home? Or how do you feel in our home? Well, I'm kind of amber. I don't feel that welcome. I don't feel like I can fully be myself, right? You'd be really sad if that was the case. And maybe for some of us it is the case. We want them to be fully at home where they live. We want the same for you. What needs to change with how you interact with your suburb? What needs to change? Do you need to go to a place more specifically? Like what would take you to a green, Amber? What would take you to a green, Chris? And moving is sometimes an option, but often it's an out. Like I'm going to move to a different place and experience the same problems, right? For some people, at some situations, sometimes it is the answer, but often it's not. What needs to change? Friendlier. Yeah, be friendlier. Do you know what I found, Stacey? The question that I'm starting the book with, which is, how happy are you in your life right now on a scale of 1 to 10? When I've been brave enough to ask people in public at my cafe, now I know them so well. In fact, I walk in there and the girl that I first asked the question to, she will say to me, yesterday I walked in and I sighed. I didn't realize I sighed. And she goes to me, looks like you're a 4 today. Which is hilarious. And I went, no, I'm a 9. And then I said, but since you consider me a 4, you must be projecting and you must be a 4. And she said, no, I'm an 8. You sighed. And so we're getting to know each other because we're like asking tougher questions. We're breaking the vulnerability. And so need to pick a suburb of the suburb and concentrate on my involvement. Yeah. Choose 4 or 5 places and embed yourself in those places. Be known in those places. Love that, Adam. Great. This is a really interesting one here. This is society. This is interesting. And Nizami, I hope I've been saying your name right. Apologies if I have not. And you can tell me after. But one of the things here, because I'm saying your name because we mentioned this a little bit in the chat too, is in 2025, we don't quite know how the world is going to be. It's not that great for many people right now. And it's easy to say, swearing again, that humanity is really fucking up the planet, or we're really screwing things over at the moment, or certain people groups are doing certain things that make it unsafe for others, or whatever it is, whatever your particular point of view is. And it's different, but it's really easy to start to have a negative view of people, because people can be incredible and they can also be, and I include myself in this, not so incredible, if you get my drift. And so what can happen when it comes to reaching our goals, if at an extreme Stacey says, people are shit, like that, like she would swear, so I'm swearing on her behalf. If she says that, and it can be a real block to reaching your goals, because why would she want to become a leader in her community? Why would she want to embed herself in her suburb? Why would she want to share her challenges and her goals with people close to her? And so this really bleeds through everything. And so what we need to figure out is, how can we live in the truth of the world? The truth. We're not Pollyannaing this. It is the way it is. I'm all up for humanity, but people, that's something else. Yeah, it's hard, right? But one of the things that will help us feel great about society is everything before society in the model. If you can find a great place in your town where you feel welcome, if you have a sphere full of people who support you and want to buy your stuff, if you have supporters cheering you on in your goal, and you have inner sanctum people who love you, the state of the outside world will be more manageable. It will be more hopeful. It will be more possible. Because I'm not saying, and maybe has anyone ever met somebody who, no matter what is happening, they're like, yes, but people are still good. The world's still great, right? And you're like, you feel like that they are living on another planet, right? Like they're living in a different place. Sometimes these people say to me things like, this is not to judge, because we all have our own diet of what's healthy, but they'll say, I don't read the news. And I'll say, you mean you don't know about the hurricane that's just about to hit your neighborhood? Oh no, what hurricane? Sometimes the news is helpful, right? And so we want to make sure that we're not naive, but we want to make sure that we don't get overcome by the bad news. If we get overcome, everything will shrink and you won't have the life you're supposed to live. And so the best way to protect yourself from this, obviously you can control your mindset and your digestion of things. But for me, digestion is important here. But what's more important is focus on my world and my relationships. Because even in a battle, in a literal battle, there's lots of stories about incredible friendships being built and incredible love being expressed, right? And so, and that's something only you can experience. And so that's what I would encourage you to focus on here. If we come back up here and you're like, well, okay, this is the future circle. So these circles, if we get them right, if we can turn them all green, they will almost guarantee that you achieve your goals. I promise you. It's the only way. You can't do it on your own. But these circles here in the past, they can hold you back. And we have to get our relationship to these circles right. And these circles are your story. And the circle is your seeds, so the people who have come before you. And this circle here is the soil, your relationship to the earth. And so if we think about your story, this is like the framework or the things that we'll tell ourselves. I remember years ago having some trouble growing a business, and I've been trying to grow it for a few years. And someone close to me said, it's not going to work, Jeff. You've tried it before. And I got extremely angry. And I said, you don't know that. You don't know the future. This moment has never existed. I've never known so much. Stop talking. Because that's the truth. Like, a person is trying to remind me that my story is one of not succeeding. Nobody can tell you that. And you shouldn't let them, which is why health in your sanctum is also very important. But you knowing that your story is setting you up for success, and we need to reframe it. Like, yes, I have tried this before, and yes, I have failed, but I've learned so much, and that's all been preparation for now, right? And so whatever failures you've had, whatever successes you've had, your story needs to be reframed in terms of how it will help you reach your goal. My story of weight loss this year, I lost about 10 kilos. I'm like nearly 50 and I can do 11 pull-ups now. Couldn't do any, right? That's fine, Michelle. my story of failure for 12 years. I tried to get fit. I've tried to do this on my own and I can't do it. I need to get someone to help me. The failure reframed for me. All right. Sometimes we have people in our lives or in our past who they don't have particularly positive stories, right? Like an ancestor or a parent or a grandparent. We want to make sure that we take the good and use the bad to motivate ourselves. So if you have a parent who was incarcerated, what do you say? Oh, the Talbots, we're just a bunch of criminals. We're doomed to fail. We always make mistakes. Nobody loves us. We're always on the wrong side of justice. Completely unhelpful, right? A more helpful frame is, I'm turning this around for my family, right? This is never going to happen again. So whether it's good or bad, we want to advance towards the future. And the soil is just a reminder. Time's short. We start off as dust as we go back to dust, right? And so we want to take care of the planet, obviously. But the soil says, I should not spend any more time with people who don't support me than is necessary, right? I shouldn't spend any more energy on things that are not good, right? And so this soil is a ticking clock. And so perhaps you need to be reminded more regularly. Whenever you see dirt, think ticking clock. Whenever you think about your ancestors, think about preparation. They're preparing you for 2024, 2025. Whenever you think about your story, try and reframe it. Reframe to your goals. Nizami, you probably had some tough moments in your life, right? And those things are so beautiful for novel writing, right? A person who's had a beautiful, perfect life, probably not the best novel writer. The person who understands pain, tension, drama, conflict, right? A great novel writer. So as we write the book and some other stuff that we're doing, my goal is to turn all of this green for you so that you are very connected to your goals. You have people close to you who cherish you, support you, understand you. You have a wider fan base of supporters, and you have a sphere of influence of people who want to buy your stuff, and you have a place in the world that feels safe, and you have a society that doesn't drain you. Like you have an attitude to the world that is positive, even in conflict. And that behind you can see everything as preparation, really, and that it's important. Does that make sense? That's the model that I wanted to take you through. You all have very good goals, but we all need very good people in our lives. Two things, A and B. One option is, for those of you who are many, as I write the book, I'm going to be sharing a little action from each chapter to do, to say, like the next one will be around goals. And it might be share your goals with a stranger, right? So it'll be a bit more of a slower pace. Some of you did this last month, but we've built out, I've been working very hard on building out this system more, and I've turned it into an intensive training. So if you want to work more intentionally on this in December, we're going to run 4 workshops where we build out your archangel model. In other words, we work together and we go, who are my 5 to 8 people? What conversations do I have with them? Who are my supporters? Let's start with these people. What do I say to them when I reach out to them? Who's my sphere of influence? What are the places that I'm going to hang out in my community? So we make it like super tangible and practical. And I've got a system which is designed to help you become more simple. So anytime it requires too much work, a human being won't do it. One example is sometimes on my hand, I'll write down 3 things that I'm going to focus on today. Like I'm going to think this way, I'm going to hang out with this type of person, and I'm going to take this type of action. But it needs to be so simple that I can write just a few words on my hand because I need that reminder because I'm dumb. Not too dumb, but a little bit dumb, right? And so if you want to do the intensive, or you just want information about working faster, just put B in the chat and I'll reach out. If you just want to keep doing the book, just put A and we'll keep going. But the goal is to help you reach your goals. Hey, great. Hey, great. Cool. Awesome. It doesn't matter which option you choose.